We just finished the January 2019 retreat, and we are here with Andrea from Canada, Annika from Finland, Chelsea from California, and Donna from UK. We had 3 workshops during the retreat. Which one was the one you liked more?
All of them were really, really powerful and insightful, but I think the one that I liked most was the one about your shadow, because it allows you to go into parts of yourself that you normally suppress and that you don't want to see and you don't want other people to see. So having a spotlight on some of your more negative aspects is very, very powerful.
And you, Annika?
For me, it was the inner child regression. I had a difficult childhood, and it was the first workshop that we did, and it really went straight to the core. So from there, the journey began, and it was very powerful from the beginning already.
What was the biggest insight?
Out of the whole of the retreat, it came later, and the biggest insight was to me that my inner child doesn't feel that it matters, and I never thought of that before. I always thought that I just don't care what people think about me, and everything's amazing and I can do whatever, I'm so powerful, whereas actually I just feel that the inner child feels that I don't matter, so I need to now work on that. So that was a big revelation.
Mm-hmm. And you, Chelsea? What you can say was your biggest insight?
My biggest insight was that I have these patterns that I developed in childhood that I didn't even realize really that have been showing up in my life, in my relationships, and what I really crave and what I think I need to be happy. I crave external satisfaction, attention and love, and I have a tendency to want to try to heal people and not fix them.
Save them?
Yes, save, as you would say, be somewhat of a savior. And I've learned why that is, and I've learned just to recognize that it is a pattern, and to know that about myself, and to be able to see what I'm doing when it reoccurs, because I know it well, and just understanding that about myself was really helpful, and moving forward I think it'll make a big difference.
So this was your automatic pattern of behavior.
Exactly.
Now
yeah.
you realize what you are doing, and you discover the cause of this pattern of behavior.
Exactly.
Now is to see it before you enter again.
Right. Yeah, to perceive things differently too. I have such a better perspective from this whole retreat, and that is just such a small snapshot of what I got out of it. Really, this was the most impactful thing I've ever done, and I know it's going to affect the rest of my life and how it unfolds.
I had a bit of a traumatic night.
What do you mean by traumatic night?
Well, a memory came up that I didn't know I had, and it was key to everything. I mean, I'd had a lot of insights through the week, but this explained everything.
So the traumatic was the memory.
Yeah.
What was that night?
Yeah, no, nothing actually happened that night. Yeah, it was in my mind.
Yeah.
And I was up at 3 a.m. crying.
A shocking insight.
Yeah, very shocking. Mm-hmm. And I really didn't know how to deal with it. And actually the only thing that kind of got me through with any sanity was using the tools that you'd given us. Mm-hmm. And then of course I met you for a small private chat before we went into the last ceremony, which was crucial because I then spent that ceremony healing everything. That's how it felt anyway. I felt like I'd put myself back together, quite literally.
That's why I think it's so important to learn tools, how
Yeah.
to integrate the insight when you are recovering very painful or and traumatic memories. What you do with that?
Yeah.
So now that you have the experience, what can happen in ceremony? Now, what do you think about going to places where you can have only one ceremony and then you come back home, or one weekend?
Disaster. It would have been a disaster for me. If
In your case, for
in my
example.
case, if I hadn't done all four, and the way they built, I mean, I guess I was just lucky, but they just seemed to build one on top of the other. My process, I had to go through it that way. And yeah, I think if I just did a kind of weekend one in the UK with no integration, I would be in the same position.
You are recovering a very painful and traumatic memory. After one ceremony, can be the first one or the
Yeah.
second one. What do you do? If you don't know the tools, if you cannot apply or all you know the tools, but you cannot apply, because sometimes it's so shocking that you think you cannot do it. So you need somebody to help you,
Yeah.
to guide you
Yeah.
to do this.
I needed both. I needed the tools, and I did need to see you to kind of cement.
Yeah, but then when I went to see you, it was very easy because
Yeah.
you knew how to do it.
I knew
but
how,
you
and it
needed
took 10 minutes.
somebody.
Yeah, but 10 minutes,
Somebody
but
to feel safe, to feel
Yeah.
protected. It's okay, you can do it. Okay, let's do it. It was very quick. In 15 minutes,
Yeah.
you go out of the hole
yeah,
completely. You change
yeah.
absolutely.
And I could have stayed in that for weeks, you know, potentially, if I'd been on my own. So I think it's essential that people do a proper retreat, that they invest their time in themselves and don't just think, oh, I can just squeeze this in between work. You know, it's not a little shopping trip. It needs time, a certain amount of
I
time.
really think that if you're going to do this, you have to be prepared and you have to be brave for yourself. You have to be brave to know that what might come up might be traumatic for you. It might be hard in the moment, but that it's a part of the experience. And ayahuasca doesn't show you anything that she doesn't think that you can handle. And I think that's what makes this retreat so unique, is because it's so comprehensive, it's so well thought out. The diet before, the setting and the energy of this place, the activities that you do, the timing, the explanations that you get, the integration workshops, everything. It's you're set up for success and for healing here. And I really think it's like what you said. It's an investment in yourself, and a lot of people don't want to put up that investment. I think part of it is a core belief that you're not really worth it, but if you do, it's you get so much more than you asked for.
One of the most beautiful things that I got out of the retreat was that feeling of oneness with nature. And I mean, it's easy to say, and you don't really truly understand it until you're doing the ceremony, and it just...
It's the first time you experience nature in this intimate way.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah, it just, everything, it slows down, and you notice the designs and the lighting and the butterflies and the beautiful birds that you have here, and the hawks soaring, 2 of them soaring in the sky, and it's like nothing else matters.
So we can say that now you have your heart completely open, and it's a lot of emotion, but good ones.
Yeah, I have never been filled with so much happiness. It really, it was just a really beautiful experience for me, and I learned a lot, so thank you.
Well, for me, the retreat, like we kind of touched it earlier also, because I think it's important to have this timing for the retreat, because my insights and when I started to realize things started to come after the third ceremony, and that gave me the insights to the first two ceremonies. And then on the fourth one, then I started to like proper heal. Like it first came the insights and the darkness, like which like I hadn't realized before I had in me, because I'm a happy person. But then all the insights started to come, but then I felt like it's so much and I have to understand what it is, and without the group sharings and your input in it, like, because when you listen to other people, especially someone who you relate with, you realize that okay, that's actually something that I'm going through, and then when you say your insights to those experiences that they've had, you learn so much about yourself in those situations, and then after that, then you start to actually understand the tools that you give to us. Then you can start to use them because you have the insights, and then you can use the tools to start to heal. Like, it doesn't do anything to have the insights when you don't know what to do with them. But I think on the fourth, then I was really like, it felt beautiful. I've never felt so connected to myself and so real. Like, I felt like I didn't realize how fake my life had been before, and now it felt really real with all the sides of like the positive, the negative, the things that have been hiding, the shadow, everything. It's just like I feel like now I'm like starting to grow as a whole person with like a light.
What do you mean when you said it started to heal? What it is healing for you?
Well, for me it was connecting with my inner child, because I didn't connect to... I always thought that I'm really powerful and happy and I don't need anybody else, and I thought those were good things. I also always considered them good things. And then when we did the inner child work, I then realized that actually, well, I didn't realize it, you actually kind of guided me to that. I wouldn't have realized it on my own, that actually I feel like I don't matter. And then when I realized that, it was such a big revelation that then after that I could feel my inner child. And then on the last day I could hold her hand and walk around the crowd, just really listen to her, like situations where I felt really comfortable in my conscious mind. My subconscious mind was like, I don't feel comfortable with this. So I really started to listen to myself.